Imagine a photograph. It's 1978, Tehran. The sun is shining. A group of university students is sitting on a lawn. They're laughing. The women are wearing bell-bottoms, oversized sunglasses, mini skirts. Their hair is blowing in the wind. They look like they could be in Paris, or Los Angeles, or London. They are studying philosophy. They are planning vacations. They are criticizing the king. Now, flip the page. 1 year, just one single year later, the same street, perhaps even the same women, but everything is black. The smiles are gone. The hair is covered. To show a single strand of it is now a crime. To wear that mini skirt is a death sentence. The music has stopped. This wasn't a foreign invasion. There were no alien ships landing in the desert. This was a revolution, but not the kind you read about in fairy tales where the good guys win. This is a story about how a nation walked into a dream and woke up in a prison of their own making. How do you go from drinking wine in a cosmopolitan cafe to being whipped for holding hands in public? And why, 40 years later, are the children of that revolution shouting the name of the king their parents overthrew? It doesn't make sense, does it? Unless you look closer, unless you look at the betrayal. Part 1. The Golden Cage, the Shah era. To understand the tragedy, we have to talk about the villain, or at least the man who was supposed to be the villain, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the Shah. Depending on who you ask, he was either the father of modern Iran or a tyrant. Here's the confusing part. They're both right. Think of the Shah like a strict, ambitious father. He wanted Iran to be a superpower. He didn't just want to modernize, he wanted to westernize. And he was in a hurry. In the 1960s and 70s, oil money wasn't just flowing into Iran, it was a fire hose. And the Shah spent it. He built universities. He built hospitals. He built a military that made the neighbors nervous. He gave women the right to vote, the right to divorce, the right to work. He looked at the West and said, I want that for my people. But there was a catch. There is always a catch. He bought you the car, he paved the road, but he told you exactly where you were allowed to drive. Political freedom? No, that was off the table. If you spoke against him, you disappeared. If you read the wrong book, the Savak, his secret police, they would find you. And the stories of what happened in those basements, they aren't pretty. Torture, fear, silence. So picture the tension. You have money in your pocket. You can fly to London for the weekend. You can wear what you want, but you have a gag in your mouth. Part 2, the perfect storm, why he fell. But why did the Shah fall? Powerful dictators don't just trip over their shoelaces. He made a fatal mistake: speed. He tried to force 100 years of Western progress into 10 years. He banned the hijab. He ignored the clerics. While the rich in Tehran drank champagne, the poor in the villages were horrified. He threw lavish parties with food flown in from France. While the South had no electricity, it was hubris. He thought if he gave people money, they wouldn't notice the torture chambers. He was wrong, and this is where history gets rewritten. The revolution wasn't just religious. It was a coalition of anger. The communists hated his capitalism. The intellectuals hated his censorship. The merchants felt squeezed. And, yes, the Islamists hated his lifestyle. They didn't agree on anything, except one thing: the Shah has to go. It was a marriage of convenience. They thought, surely anything is better than this. They succeeded. They threw the driver off the bus. But nobody asked who was going to drive next, and sitting quietly in the back, waiting for his moment, was an old man with a black turban, Ruhollah Khomeini. Part 3, the long con, Khomeini's takeover. This is the part that breaks your heart. When Khomeini was in exile, living in Paris, he spoke softly. He was a master of marketing. He told the Western media, I don't want power. I am just a spiritual guide. Women will be free. We will have a democracy. The intellectuals believed him. The students believed him. Even the BBC believed him. He was the perfect anti-hero, the Gandhi of the Middle East, or so they thought. When the Shah fled in January 1979, Khomeini returned. Millions, literally millions, flooded the streets to welcome him. They were cheering for their savior. They were cheering for liberty. But the moment he landed, the script changed, slowly, then all at once. Revolutions don't fail instantly. They fail gradually, while people still believe they are winning. First, he went after the Shah's generals, executed. The people cheered. Then he went after the leftists, the communists who helped him win, executed or imprisoned. The people got nervous, but they stayed quiet. Then he went after the liberals, the students. By the time the people realized what was happening, it was too late. The guns were already in the hands of the new regime. The Revolutionary Guard wasn't protecting the people. It was protecting the idea of the state. And the biggest betrayal of all? It wasn't against the men. It was against the women. Part 4. The War on Women. Let's go back to that photo. The mini-skirts, the wind in the hair. Why does the regime care so much about a piece of cloth? Why is the hijab the hill they are willing to die on? It's not just about modesty, it's about ownership. In the eyes of the Islamic Republic, Messi, the woman is the symbol of society's morality. If the woman is loose, the state is weak. If the woman is covered, the state is pious. So controlling women became the foundation of their power. Imagine waking up one morning and being told you cannot leave your house without a male guardian's permission. Imagine being a judge or a surgeon and suddenly being told your brain is worth half of a man's. Literally, in court, a woman's testimony is worth half. And then, the morality police. Just the name sends a shiver down the spine. Gashti Ershad. These aren't police officers catching thieves. These are vans patrolling the streets, looking for a loose scarf, looking for nail polish, looking for bad hijab. They grab women off the street. They beat them. They humiliate them. Why? To create fear. Because a frightened population is an obedient population. If you can dictate what a woman wears on her head, you can dictate what she thinks in her head. For 40 years, Iranian women have been fighting a war every single day. Every time they show a little hair, it's an act of rebellion. Every time they wear bright colors, it's a protest. They didn't ask to be soldiers, but their bodies became the battlefield. Part 5. The Price of Purity. Economic collapse. While the regime was busy measuring the length of women's coats, the country was falling apart. Remember the wealth of the 70s? The oil? The construction? Iran is sitting on an ocean of oil and gas. By all logic, Iranians should be as rich as the citizens of Dubai or Norway, but they aren't. They are poor. Why? The regime will tell you it's the sanctions. America is starving us. And yes, sanctions hurt. They bite hard. But that's only half the story. The other half is corruption, incompetence, theft. The economy isn't run by economists. It's run by the Revolutionary Guard. They own the ports. They own the factories. They own the telecom companies. And the money? It doesn't go to schools. It doesn't go to roads. It goes to Syria. It goes to Lebanon. It goes to Yemen. It goes to building missiles while people are digging through trash cans for food. Think about this statistic. The Iranian rial, the currency, since the revolution, it has lost 99% of its value. Imagine your life savings. Everything you worked for, gone, vaporized. Not because you made a bad investment, but because your government cares more about ideology than reality. Iran is rich in resources, but it is destitute in governance. Part 6. The Ghost of the King. And this brings us to the most ironic twist of all. In recent protests, amidst the tear gas and the bullets, you hear a chant, Reza Shah, bless your soul. Iran without a king has no account. They are calling for the ghost of the man their parents overthrew. Why? Do they really want a monarchy? Do they want a dictator? No, they are grieving. They are grieving for a life they never had. They look at old videos on YouTube. They see the discos. They see the queen. They see the respect the world gave them. And they realize, we were normal once. That's the power of the chant. It's not a political statement as much as it is a cry of desperation. They are saying, we traded a flawed progress for a perfect hell. We traded a golden cage for a dark dungeon. It's a slap in the face to the regime. The ultimate insult to the supreme leader is to tell him, the dead king was better than you. The regime tries to erase history. They try to paint the Shah as a demon. But hunger has a way of clarifying things. When you can't feed your children, you don't care about anti-imperialism. You care about dignity. And right now, looking back, the past looks like a paradise lost. Even if it wasn't perfect, it was theirs. Part 7. The protests today. So where does this end? We've seen the protests. 2009, the Green Movement. 2019, the Bloody November. 2022, Mahsa Amini. Each time the regime cracks down, they shoot, they hang, they shut down the internet. And the world watches. And then the world forgets. But something has changed. The fear barrier. It's broken. Look at the faces of the protesters today. They are young, Gen Z. They didn't live through the Shah. They didn't live through the revolution. They know only this system, and they despise it. They have the internet. They see how the rest of the world lives. They know that being beaten for showing hair isn't culture, it's cruelty, and they have nothing left to lose. When you take away a person's future, you take away their fear. Part 8, the vacuum. What happens next? But there is one final terrifying question we have to ask. What happens, if they win? What happens the day after the Ayatollahs fall? There is no Shah waiting in the wings to take over. There is no government in exile ready to govern. There is a vacuum, and vacuum are dangerous things. Look at Libya. Look at Iraq. Look at Syria. The fear is not just about toppling the regime. The fear is chaos. The Revolutionary Guard isn't just an army. It's a mafia with guns. Will they fight each other for control? Will the country split apart? Will there be a civil war? This is the nightmare that keeps Iranians awake at night. They want the regime gone, but they are terrified of what replaces it. But ask any Iranian on the street. Ask the woman burning her scarf. Ask the father whose son was shot. They will tell you the same thing. The fear of the unknown is better than the misery of the known. They are willing to risk the chaos, because the current reality is a slow death. And the unknown, at least the unknown holds a chance of life. Outro. The unfinished story. Iran is a country holding its breath. It's a suspended tragedy. A nation of poets ruled by men who cannot read poetry. A nation of joy ruled by men who worship sorrow. We started with a picture of 1978. The women in mini skirts. Today those women are grandmothers. But look at their granddaughters, standing on top of police cars, burning their headscarves in bonfires, dancing in the streets. They are finishing the fight their grandmothers started. They are trying to turn the color back on. Iran's story isn't finished. The regime wants you to think they are eternal. But no winter lasts forever. The question is not whether change will come. The question is, how much more suffering comes before it does? And when the sun finally rises over Tehran again, will the world be there to see it? Think about that.